All right, so let's kind of close out with Give Kids World, because this is a place that's near and dear to my heart and the hearts of our listeners. Our listeners stepped up in a big way back on Sunday, June 14th, to raise a lot of money to help these families out. What's it like when you actually, because it's one thing to give money, which is a great thing because money lets them build buildings and buy tickets and ice cream and, all the necessities that makes the magic happen down at this wonderful, wonderful place. But also, when you can give your time, that is something that's probably even more precious than money in many ways, and especially your talents. So I know you did this with your wife, and you're a youth minister, so you are working with kids all the time and youth, and I'm sure that was an asset for this experience for you. But tell us about doing that both with your wife and then later on in the trip.
Yeah, serving at Give Kids the World was an incredible experience. There's a family that's really, really close to me, and their daughter was born with a golf ball-sized tumor in her mouth. And she had years of battling that. And when she was about 5, she was able to go down to Give Kids the World with her family as her Make-A-Wish. And they had an incredible opportunity or experience there, and just loved it, and were taken such good care of. And then, and she's fully recovered now. She was a flower girl in our wedding, and they were able to go back about 1.5 years ago over spring break. And then now they, as a family, were serving the other families.
Wow.
And it was that experience which really got me thinking about, I really want serving at Give Kids the World to be a huge part of what I do during my sabbatical, my time off. And it was everything I hoped it would be, because you recognize that for so many of the families that are down there, this is maybe the first vacation they've ever taken as a family, because it becomes such a challenge to travel with health issues of all different kinds that they have, and to have a resort that is an amazing resort in and of itself, that is so specially designed to care for you, is just, you can see it in people's faces that they can't even express how appreciative they are for this experience.
Yeah, that's so good to hear, because I'm sure that, any act of kindness, they've had, these families have had such a tough road to go down, and it's so unfair that, these things, because it's just, it happens a lot of times, and we don't know why these things happen, and it's so tough. But I mean, I'm sure, like you said, any act of kindness, these people are just so grateful for. So tell us about, what did you do? Like, what kind of things did you do when you were at the village?
A lot of different things. I tried to volunteer in as many different ways as possible. I drove a train. I operated a carousel, served meals to people. Each night there is a different theme. One night is Halloween, and one night is, on the Halloween night, I was a greeter at the castle, and I got there a little bit late, and the only costume left was a bowling ball. So I was the greeter welcoming them to the party, dressed as a bowling ball, and I kept asking the kids if they could guess what I was, and none of them could guess that I was a bowling ball. I'm not surprised. But one of the amazing things at this Halloween party, they had live animals. They had a guy doing science outside, blowing things up to the kids. They could trick or treat. And then they had a rack of brand new costumes. And each and every kid went in and chose out a Hulk costume or a princess dress. And it's right off the rack, put them on, and then they got to take them home with them as well. And these experiences, these kids are incredible each and every night. And another night was a tea party, and I did a puppet show all night. And my job was to do a puppet show for the kids all night long and interact with them that way. And I could go on and on about all the different things, but I think I read that they require about 7,000 volunteer hours a week to make that place run.
Wow.
And so I worked with some people who have put in well over 1,000 hours serving there over the years, and it's an amazing place that I'm so grateful that I got a chance to see firsthand and participate, even if in a small way, in the blessing that it is to these families.
So do you remember how you got involved? Like, if somebody wants to volunteer on their next Disney vacation, how do they make that happen?
It's not actually that difficult. If you go to Give Kids the World, it's gktw.org. You can click on volunteer, and what was interesting is, as I'm a U.S. citizen, and I had to go through a background check and do an online training first before I could do that. But my wife, being a Canadian citizen, she did the online training, but didn't actually have to do the background check, which was interesting. But once you get through that process, then you're assigned a what's called an Angel Access number, and then you can go online, and they have a calendar system where you can click on the day you want to volunteer, and then they'll list all the jobs, and you just select them. And some will be limited on your age, and some of them require a driver's license and that kind of thing. But otherwise, you can pick and choose. You can't do more than 2 shifts in a day. But it's quite easy. When you get there, you have an orientation your first time, and wherever you volunteer, if it's your first time, for instance, driving the train, a staff member will meet you there at the beginning of your shift, and they train you on what to do. So you're never left thinking I'm ill prepared for what they've been asking me to do, and it's a great experience. So I'd encourage people to get involved there and to take a day or two out of the vacation time. It's from Disney World. It's only about a 20-minute drive or so to get there. It's not too far, and it would be well worth it to give back to these families that have had such a rough go.
All right. Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your cruise and your Walt Disney World stay, and especially your touching stories with Give Kids the World. And all the best. God bless with everything you're doing up there in Vancouver with the youth, and hope it continues to flourish for you and your church.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike. It's